I've got Daniel Jones calling in shortly from the Giants.
Yep.
What can you interpret Pat Shurmur's comments when they broke for the summer about the quarterback scenario there, Albert?
Yeah. Here's what I would tell you. I think the locker room always knows, right? The locker room always knows who the best player is. And, especially at that position, if the best player isn't playing, it can be a problem for you. And it's because guys at other positions are told the best player is going to play. And, if you're not doing that at the most important position, it becomes hard to sell it elsewhere. And so, I think part of Pat Shurmur's intention here was to make sure that people knew that, that the best quarterback was going to play. And I think it is an affirmation that Daniel Jones had a good 5 or 6 weeks after the draft and has put himself in the position to compete for a starting quarterback job. Here's the other thing, Rich. History tells us that guy's going to play sooner rather than later. If you want to look at the history, really over the last 10 years, almost always a first-round quarterback gets into real game action as a rookie. And so, you can go through all the different guys, whether it was Blake Bortles a few years ago, more recently, Derek Carr. Like, there are other guys. Like, there are a bunch of guys who, were out there as guys who are quote-unquote going to be redshirted, and it didn't happen. And so I think at the very least, you can interpret Pat Shurmur's comments as saying, well, Daniel Jones had a really strong spring. Everybody in the locker room sees it. And so we've got to give him a chance to compete, just like we would give anyone at any other position a chance to compete.
Yeah, that's the way I viewed it, too. And also you got a guy in Eli who's like a Hall of Fame-er and a Hall of Fame individual. And honestly, everyone wants an answer right now and wants to get the answer right now. And Daniel Jones could wind up being absolutely fantastic at the gig.
Right.
And that's going to be, I was saying this for years, Albert, toughest job in New York City was who's going to be the closer and shortstop after Rivera and Jeter. And that has gone a little bit more swimmingly than I thought would ever. And whoever follows Eli, because Eli answers the bell every time, and he's got 2 rings.
Yep.
You know?
And I think I think what's interesting about it to me, too, is by no fault of his own, Daniel Jones has dealt with a really difficult situation right off the bat, right? The jokes and all the different stuff coming out of the draft, right? And Gettleman took his hits, but Daniel Jones kind of got caught in the crossfire there. I think what's really interesting about it is all that pressure you're talking about there, Daniel Jones, by no fault of his own, had to deal with a lot of that right away, had to deal with people talking about him a certain way right away. And so, I would think that should serve him well going forward, even if it wasn't comfortable over the last 5 or 6 weeks to hear some of the things people were saying about him.
For more of The Rich Eisen Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV for free on BR Live or download the Rich Eisen Show app.